Welcome to the Sacred Emergence Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. This is a place where you'll be guided to living your most aligned life so that your truest, most radiant self can emerge. We'll be jamming on topics ranging from spirituality, entrepreneurship, to wellness and lifestyle design, and everything in between that can support you to grow, evolve, and shine, all the while not taking ourselves too seriously. So if you're ready to step into your leadership, break through limiting beliefs, own all of who you are, and expand in abundance, grab yourself your faith cup of tea and let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Sacred Emergence Podcast. It's Michelle Wong, and it's a solo episode today. It's going to be a short episode. I am actually really excited for some fun updates and also wanted to really share something that I got such a visceral feeling in my body, really around surrendering and listening to the body, that I wanted to share that. So I am heading back to Seattle. I'll share more in the weeks to come, but I am heading back and I'm super excited for this next chapter in my life. It's crazy because a week ago, this time last year, I was in Mexico. I just moved into my 2-bed, 2-bath apartment, but I only needed 1 bed, 1 bath, but the space was amazing. And it's just so funny to think last year, this time, I would have never imagined that I was going to be back in Toronto, right? Spending time with family and all of that. And I've been here for a big chunk of time. And as we are rolling into spring, I'm just feeling this I'm ready to head back. And one of the things of me heading back is housing. And I don't know what it is. Maybe because things have changed since, I don't know, the last time I needed to find a place to stay. It's been a lot trickier to find something while I'm abroad. In the past, it's always been easy. I remember when I was living in Portland, and I was moving back up to Seattle, it was so easy. Even though I wasn't in Seattle at that time, it was really easy for me to have a friend check out a place for me. And I spoke with the landlord, everything was good. And then I signed the application and, 2 days later I was done. I had a place to live. And I've done it for friends as well. They were, moving to Seattle, they needed a place and I checked out an apartment for them. I met with their landlord and everything was good. They signed it, done. But for whatever reason, this time around, it's been crickets. I've reached out to a few places that, look decent online, but obviously it would be so much better if I could see it in person, but at least I can have a friend check it out for me. And nobody was returning my calls. I even left 2 messages for this one place, and it's still available on the market at the time of this recording, but it's I don't know what it is. Maybe because I am not physically there and now they want people to be there in person. Perhaps there have been a lot of scams. I have no idea. But I was okay, then maybe the best thing is for me to actually be there and it'll be a lot easier for me anyway. But okay, then I need to find a place where I could stay that's furnished and temporary. The last option would be Airbnb because the options in Seattle are pretty high. There's another website that is for furnished temporary housing for traveling professionals, and I kid you not, everyone I reached out to, they did not respond. I think it's because they had specific groups of workers in mind that they wanted to offer their space to, which is totally cool. So I'm okay, what are my options, right? I can stay with friends for a little bit, but I just feel I really would prefer to have my own space, and my friends have helped me out so much that I just I do not want to impose any more than I need to. So I had this idea that came into my mind, and it was because it was so unknown and I've not done it before. The idea of it sounded so crazy. But the reason why I thought of this idea was because my friend has done it, and they still have an account with this place. And basically, there's a lot of different options. I know you can do couch surfing. I don't even know if couch surfing is still a thing. But there's options to do that. And then there's other sites that actually look for people who who are house sitters or pet sitters, right? There's a lot of people who are traveling and they need someone to take care of their stuff and to look after their pets, water their plants, all the things. And it might not be like for a month. Sometimes it'll be like for a week, a few days. And it all very much depends on, the person's needs. And so there's a website that offers that. There's actually a few, but there's one that is very well recommended. It's, highly ranked and it's legit. And I thought about it and I spoke with my friend who has done it and she has an account with them, including an affiliate link. And I was like, should I do it? Because I don't have like professional experience doing that. I've only done it for my friends a few years ago. But I do love animals and this would be really helpful because all I needed to do was pay for the use of the site, right? You buy it in annual memberships, but the actual trade is free. And I was like, should I do it? Because it wasn't like the membership was like, $30 a month. I had to commit to a year. And it was like, I don't know how much. It was like, I think regular price is like $170. And I was like, I don't even know if this is going to work out. Like, it feels so random. And at the same time, when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, but it might be kind of fun because then I'll get to know more people in the Seattle area, right? I'll make some connections. And who knows, like it might be like a really fun adventure. And the more I thought about it, the more I got excited. And I felt this like expansion in my body. Like I literally felt like, ooh, like how fun would that be to like actually spend time in certain neighborhoods to see if I like it. I know Seattle pretty well, but there's, certain neighborhoods that I know very, very, very well because I've spent time there, I've lived there. And I was like, this might be a fun opportunity to actually get to know an area a little bit more. And suddenly I just felt like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll get chosen because I'm so new to, the whole thing of pet/house sitting. But I just felt this like aliveness in my body. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do it then, right? So I paid for the site. I set up my account. They do background verification. So I entered all of my information. I filled everything out. I think the whole process probably took me like 15 to 20 minutes, not that long. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start applying. I'm going to start applying for places. And this is where like the adventure started because there are a few places that, was really great for my date that I needed at the time. And there was one that it would be so perfect. It was going to be so perfect because it was by the water and it looked pretty low key. I just had to take care of one dog. It just seemed very like easy to do, but it listed on the site that there were like over 10 applicants already who have applied for it. And I was totally new. So I was like, oh, I don't even know if it's going to happen, right? And I wasn't sure if I should even apply because I was like, I don't know. Like, at the time when I was considering it, I had 0 reviews, obviously, because I was like a new account and I was new to the site. But there is like this certain website you can reach out to friends that you've house sat for, even if they're not members on the same site, and they can write a review for you. So I asked my friend to do that, whom I've house sitted for and pet sitted for. And so she did it no problem. And so I was like, I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring and see, like, you never know. Right after I submitted my application, like maybe like an hour later, the listing closed and it was like, we're no longer looking for people. And I was like, shoot. Okay. So I applied to a few other places. And the next morning, during my yoga session, a message came through, and it was from that very listing that I really wanted. Not just because it was by the water, but also because the length of time was like over a week long. So it just gave me a little bit more time to settle in as I look for my own space. And she reached out to me and she said, hey, I'd love to chat. Here's my number. And so I called immediately and she said, yeah, like yours stood out because you're pretty low maintenance from what it sounds like. And all the other applicants, it was just so much more complicated. There was like families and there's a lot more like logistical stuff. And yours just seemed really simple. We're not looking for anything fancy, we're really easygoing. And, let's talk more and see if it's a good fit. And after 2 days later, a little bit of chit chat going back and forth, we nailed the dates. Everything is good. Everything's confirmed. And I was just over the moon, giddy, jumping in my apartment, just so excited that like things just worked out, because I was actually pretty stressed about how am I going to find a place, so now I just feel like the universe has my back, or God has my back. And it just feels like, okay, like things are lining up and unfolding perfectly for me. And so I'm really excited, and I'm excited that I get to have some downtime in a beautiful space as I look for a place, and before I start my new journey, which I don't even know if I'm ready to share yet. It doesn't change. It doesn't change my work, but I've decided to go back into the workforce and get a job, and I'll share more later on. But it just felt like the right thing to do with my bigger vision and what I want to create. That takes the pressure off of my business. It just felt very expansive and freeing, actually, ironically. And I found a really great company. So I'll talk more about that in a future episode. But I just wanted to share, like, it was so actually like trying out for the house sitting, pet sitting site. It just seemed so random and out of the blue, to be honest. It was like kind of this last resort, like, let's throw spaghetti on the fridge. And I don't know, like a part of it just felt very like hodgepodge. Like maybe the easiest thing to do was just pay money up front, $4,000 for, a crappy Airbnb. No offense, but most of the units I saw weren't that great. I know Seattle pretty well. And just bite the bullet, right? Plus fees, that they don't list all the fees. Or take a chance, right? Like take a chance, go for a little adventure, who knows? But I chose that feeling in my body over something that was just more logical, more linear, more kind of like known versus the unknown. Like, I'm sorry, I chose the unknown versus the known, the linear, the logical, the safe, right? But very, in my opinion, very expensive route. Over something that it's like, well, who knows? But let's just give it a shot. Let's just toss our name into the ring. And when we do that, when we're willing to take the risk, when we're willing to just like, let's just play, right? Let's just have an adventure. Things will show up. The doors open for us, right? The knots get untied. I remember years ago, I had an astrology session, and like, I remember the astrologer was like, when you commit, when you're like, yeah, let's do this, like things will open up for you, right? And he literally said like knots will untie, and it's just like the magic will start to unfold. And I have to say, well, I obviously can't speak for everybody, but there's this trust, this level of trust. And it's not even like, oh my God, I am so scared. I have a really bad feeling about this. It wasn't like that at all. It was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. It feels a little bit crazy, but I'm so excited by the idea of it that even though my mind is like, I don't know, like who knows what's going to happen, and you have to pay money up front with no guarantee, my body was like, let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can't get a refund. Who knows? But like, I get a year access to this. So it might come in handy down the road if I want to take a weekend trip and like look after a cat while I do it. And I've just been like thrilled. So I just wanted to offer a reminder to, if there's ever a chance where you're making a decision between something that's more quote unquote safe, logical, somewhat certain, right? Versus another option where you don't know the end result, right? You don't even know if it's going to work, but there's something in your body that's like a little bit excited, a little bit giddy, but maybe a little bit like nervous because you don't know what's going to happen. Give it a shot. Like go for it, right? Like the worst for me, for what I had to lose, is maybe like $130. But I was willing to give it a go. And I'm so like happy with the results. And never take yourself out of the game, because at first I was like, oh, I don't even know if I should apply because I have 0 ratings. Well, when my friend wrote her review for me, then I got, the 5 stars. But like, still, like even when I was initially applying, I had no idea. I had 0 reviews. And interestingly enough, there's some homeowners or pet owners or whatever who are needing people in a pinch, like really last minute, like I need someone like this weekend, I actually got a few messages from people, but it ended up, it was too far away or the timing actually didn't work out. But it's like when I got those 2 requests to see if I was available, my confidence went up. Like I was like, oh, there's a chance that just because I'm new, it doesn't matter. Like some people really need to find somebody right away, and to have enough confidence in myself and my own belief that I can handle this, even though I'm not like, a serial house sitter. But I've done it once or twice, that I'm confident that I can take care of someone's mail, you know what I mean? And I could walk the dog and feed the dog and like pet the dog. Like, like I love animals and this is so doable. It was just like, I've never done this in this way before. But all of that was just actually super exciting. And I'm just all smiles and very, very grateful. So, and I actually felt that feeling. I was very conscious and aware of the feeling of excitement. And that was what made me say, I'm just going to do it. Because I was talking to my parents and my dad was very skeptical about it. He was like, I don't know. Of course, they're my parents, right? But like, he's like, maybe you should chat with your mom and talk it out a little bit to see if this is the right move. And so I kind of slept on it, but I was like, when I woke up the next day, I was like, no, this feels good. Like I'm excited, I'm going to do it. So I just encourage you, if there's ever an opportunity to really trust the body, go for it. Because, I always say like body over mind, right? Like our body holds so much wisdom. And this is what I mean about the embodiment. It's like going for it, like really feeling into your body's feelings and trusting that versus like the what if of the brain that's trying to keep us so safe that it limits us, right? And this is a very easy, like no, very small risk example, but it's just one of those things where the more we can make those mini leaps, like those mini choices that can really take us to like a better possibility, it's like it compounds, it builds, and the more we're willing to do that, the more we actually build self-trust in our body, and the more our intuition grows and becomes stronger. And that's the piece that I wanted to share. So with all that said, I will be sharing more to come. Let's see, next week this time I'll be en route to Seattle. I'm so excited. I have more to share around like what's unfolding in my life, but it doesn't, somebody asked if that affects, my work with my business. I'm like, no, it does not. It might show up like when I could do like a coaching call or a mentorship call. But right now, most of my coaching and my mentorship, I should say, is all over Voxer. Unless something is scheduled for an HD one-on-one attunement session, which I'm definitely still offering. Which, by the way, if you want one, I do have limited spots this month in May, and I'll probably offer more sometime like towards the end of June, because I need some time to settle in and start my new job. But I'm so excited, and I will share in a future podcast episode the kismet around landing this job. I'm just like, I kid you not, like when we commit, when we decide, the path unfolds for us, and the things that are meant to happen will happen. And I wholeheartedly believe that. So I will share more around that, but it does not affect my passion in the work that I do. That is not going away. If anything, I actually have a bigger vision, and just knowing my energy as a manifestor, like I know what I want to create down the road. And this is just continuing to support my bigger vision. So more to come. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day wherever you are at, and we'll talk soon. Cheers. To help you feel more supported and nourished in your body and nervous system, you're invited to download the free I Am Supported meditation in the show notes. May you feel grounded in who you are as you become the fullest expression of yourself. Thank you for listening to the Sacred Emergence podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and thank you in advance for sharing with those who can benefit. Until next time.